finally, the club is feeding us. The club have realised how hungry and starving we've been to see new signings come into the club to improve this team. And tonight, you guys, we're set to have the new signing of the A Bola era. And our first signing is set to be Raheem Sterling, as today all the news is breaking surrounding an agreement being made with Man City. On top of this, you guys, we have more reports to break down involving MATHEUS Nunes of Sporting Lisbon, and that's going to be the stories for today. So if you guys are happy with the signing of Raheem Sterling, if you guys are excited to see more players being signed as well too, if you guys are still confident that this window is going to be a big one, then please smash that like button. Let's be ambitious again. I'm going to go for 5k likes, so without wasting any more time. So right now, every big name journalist is breaking this story collectively. Matt Law, Fabrizio Romano, etc. And finally, a fee has been agreed with Man City for the sale of Raheem Sterling, and that fee is set at around 45 million, which is 5 mil less than the original 50 million valuation Man City were hoping to get for the player. But now everything's been finalised, from a janitor fee to personal terms as well too. And the great news is that Sterling is set to join up with the team this weekend, of course, who are going to be travelling to the States to kickstart their pre-season tours. Sterling ideally was hoping to get his position on his future clarified and sorted. He wants to make sure that he's, taking advantage of every situation he has at this point in time. He doesn't want to waste time by not starting pre-season as early as possible. And it's this type of winning mentality that's definitely going to have like a positive effect to all like the younger players in the team as well too. But regardless, we know that Sterling has already sold his house in Manchester to get ready for a move back down to London. And most importantly, even though we don't have an exact figure around the wages he's set to earn with us, he is going to be our highest paid player at this point in time. He'll earn more than N'Golo Kante, who's currently earning 290k per week. He's already earning around 300k a week at Man City, and reports from Matt Law are saying that he will get a bit more on top of his existing 300k a week demands. Normally with massive wages like this, players aren't necessarily earning like a base salary of like 300k. You'd imagine that maybe Sterling's getting like 180k plus, with add-ons and clauses and bonuses that get activated during the season. That's where you're making more money, and I'd imagine it's going to be something quite similar like that. But still, though, we did quite a lot of work to entice Sterling to sign for us. Tuchel having many private conversations with the player. Of course, our efforts have been very public and very private too, because originally Sterling was considering just, winding down his existing deal with Man City, leaving on a free the following summer, and, achieving his dream of actually playing abroad in Europe. But with Tuchel speaking to the player about his plans, how he wants to use him, the influence and benefits he can bring to the team as well, and the fact that we can satisfy his sporting ambitions, to compete and challenge for silverware, to try and win the Premier League. We already know that guys like Sterling and Ake are very, interested in the possibility of challenging against Man City and trying to, reclaim that #1 spot. They're the mentalities that you need to have in your squads if you want to achieve big things like this. Still though, after 7 years at Man City, he scored over 100 Premier League goals. He is literally the definition of Prem experience, and seeing him grow as a player over the years, from the potential he was showing at Liverpool as a kid, really that exciting front three that they had with Sterling, Suarez, and of course Sturridge as well too, to how he adapted, grew, and was able to withstand that pressure after moving to Man City for a massive amount of money. When I remember at the time, the media was really against the move for some reason. It was a crime for Sterling to want to have ambition and to want to go to a better club that can actually win things. And he's always had very unfair public discourse surrounding his name for literally no reason at all. So Sterling is used to performing under pressure. Sterling is used to turning negative opinions on him into positive things. And he's used to being that underdog in that sense. I think this is why the player feels like this is the time for me now to leave Man City. I'm at Man City, I'm a star player, but I'm around many other stars. I'm in my prime years right now. I'm 27 years old. I want to be a star player in a team with ambition. And this is why he's signing for us. He's in his prime years on prime wages. We're getting Sterling at the best time. We've got a Raheem Sterling now who knows how to score. He's a match winner. He can create out wides in the middle with his movement, with bits of skill. He's a winner who's won how many Premier Leagues, how many domestic titles, and he's going to provide some experience and some danger to our front three. able to play on the left hand side, the right hand side, and up front as well too. I feel like with the potential attack being built now under Thomas Tuchel, hopefully now we are going to let this team off the shackles, give them the right midfield they need, and take advantage of the attacking talent we have. Imagine that left hand side we could have for next season. Ben on the left, Sterling up front on the left hand side, and Mason Mount in that midfield too. This would have not only big benefits for us, for the team for next season, but also for the national team, with all of these players hopefully building a relationship and understanding with each other, which I feel could produce some devastating effects for next season. Sterling is the first of many other signings set to come. It's a big statement one, and you'd imagine that there's going to be a lot more deals getting closed in the next few weeks. So all I can say is, welcome to Chelsea Football Club, Raheem Sterling. How do you guys feel about the signing? Let us know how excited you are or how apprehensive you are in the comment section. And let's now move on to the second story to wrap up today's video. Now, we turn our attentions to Portugal. An interesting report came out from an outlet called A Bola. And basically, they're saying that we are showing interest in signing and making a move for Sporting Lisbon's MATHEUS NUNES. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard of this player beforehand. Pep Guardiola was gassing them up in press conferences before Man City just battered Lisbon 5-0 in the Champions League. So, you know, take that what you will. But I think Pep was definitely right to praise Nunes in particular, who is a very interesting player at a very good price. Of course, at the right age as well too. But I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on the player and give you guys some insight behind this game, what to expect later on. Focusing on the reports though, and basically an offer of 45 million plus 5 million in add-ons was made by Wolves to try and sign the player, but Nunes of course just isn't as interested. He wants to play Champions League football, wants to play at a higher level. When you're playing in the Champions League, you can't go to a team like Wolves and, you know, lose out on those opportunities. It makes no sense. So what they're saying is, due to that unwillingness to sign for Wolves and due to the fact that Mendes wants to sell him as one of his clients, of course, you know, it's part of the business model. Make some money on the transfer, get the player a better club. Is there any surprise by reports stating that we are set to make the same offer that Wolves made for the player? Absolutely not. Now, my first impressions, is that maybe this story is being gassed up a bit too much. I think maybe his agent might be using the media to, you know, entice interested parties to try and make a move now. I think the fact that Wolves' bids was made public, a lot of times clubs want to keep things private. You don't want to, you know, make yourself too bait and known to other interested parties around you. I feel like maybe this is Mendes' involvement now, trying to get these clubs to make a move. We know that he's already spoken to Todd Bowley like 2 weeks ago on a Monday, and I'd imagine that a player like him would have been discussed and brought up, maybe not for this summer, but maybe for the following seasons, because I feel like Nunes is going to be that next big player that will leave Sporting Lisbon. And I'm going to talk about his game, you guys, to give you a bit of insight behind why I think he's a very interesting target. I mean, number one, I say his best role is more as like a box-to-box midfield player. However, you know, for Lisbon, he plays in a 3, but mostly in a pivot alongside Paulinho. And he did kind of play this like deep line playmaker role, which I was kind of getting like similar vibes to like Fernandinho in terms of like, you know, what he was doing in that pivot. Now, Paulinho is the guys that breaking up the play. Nunes is the one that, you know, carries the ball, progresses it. And I think two really good things about his game is his dribbling. This guy is a very good progressive runner, very good at carrying that ball, and his passing as well. I feel like his technique on the ball in terms of passing, you can kind of make every single pass. You know, you can play those forward passes. He is very good at making those defense splitting passes. You know, passes like that, you need to get the weight right. And I think they're more effective when you're making that pass in the counter attack. And, you know, he definitely has a very good influence in midfield with his short range passes and most in particular, his switch balls and his long range passes as well. I feel like maybe one thing that our team lacks a bit is a midfield player that is confident in, you know, playing off the ground, that can, you know, switch the ball, quicken the pace of how we play. I think that is so important. And that's one of the other reasons why I want to see us go to a 4-3-3, because players like Mount, for example, receiving deeper, is really good at making those types of balls. And I feel like we need to add more of these passes to try and, you know, speed things up a bit and not be so pedestrian when teams are sitting back, defending, keeping their blocks, and we're just playing sideways passes in front of them. I think Nunes is definitely someone that could add something to midfield if he was actually signed. He's a player that kind of dominates the zone on that left-hand side. He can play all down there, of course. And when you see the guy's profile, I mean, you know, he's got good height, He's fast, he's powerful, he's strong, he has very good acceleration, and he definitely uses his body well when he's using it to dribble and power his way through opponents. Still though, the reason why I find this deal hard at this point in time is that for us to sign any midfield players, we have to sell some first before replacing them. Could this story be proof that eventually maybe we are going to see some more changes made in midfield? That could be the case. Or we could also be looking to monitor the player over potential moves in the following years. I definitely think that he could provide something interesting. You know, a guy that can play in a 3, that can play in a 2. In a sense, it was everything we were hoping Saul was going to be, but couldn't live up to that. I think Nunes is a much better player than him, with big potential, who played really well in the Champions League. So I don't want to gas anyone up though, in case you're excited by the player, but at this point in time, I feel like maybe it's just more like agent meddling and marketing, of course, to try and, you know, increase the hype for his clients. So you guys, they are the stories today. Raheem Sterling set to become the first player of the new A Bola era. In the comments below, who is the second player you guys want to see? And on that note, I'm in EFC. This is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.